Boruto is now the villain, and he doesn't fail in making everyone believe he really is. Now, one of the things that shocks me most about Boruto's character, and I'm pretty sure everybody noticed it by now, especially even if you just read a few chapters of the story. Boruto was not only portrayed as the villain, or the bad guy, whatever, he also acts like one. And it's in a weird way as to like, he's not really the bad guy, and you can obviously see he's not a bad person. But him personally, he's choosing to buy into that role for some reason. And there's a lot of instances in the story that tell us this. Now, my man J-Man, I have known him for a while. He's actually an OG on the channel. He has been following us for a pretty long time, so shout out to him. And one of the reasons I actually started doing reactions was to really shine light on the smaller creators and how hard they put in work, you know? Of course, you got your guys that are already established in this community, like Naruto Explained, Kidomaki, and stuff like that. But for me and a lot of other like smaller creators, they're really underrated when it comes to like editing, storytelling, things like that. And you know, when I do reaction videos like this, it gives me a chance to like put that out there, you know what I mean? So that's really the main goal when it comes to making videos like this. There's never any malicious intent behind it. It's all love. So you know what? Right now, I'm gonna leave J-Man's channel down below in the description. So make sure you guys go subscribe to him. He has been putting out bangers, really underrated. But this video is titled Boruto Lets the World Hate Him. Like I said, it caught my eye because I've been noticing it too. So you know what? I feel like reacting to this video, man. So I mean, without further ado, let's just hop into it.
Boruto is a rogue shinobi now. Ever since Omnipotence took effect, the Uzumaki brothers' lives have flipped. Now, Kawaki's seen as Naruto's real son, while Boruto's the adopted outcast, which honestly kinda sucks. This is the same kid who was once loved by the entire village. The whole world believes Boruto is the one who killed Naruto. Even after being exiled and coming back years later, he's still listed as the #1 threat on every village's bingo book. Sure, Sarada and Sumire still have—
I ain't gonna lie, being on the bingo book, it got some type of aura to it that's just like, you don't really know until you see it. Like, there's something about being an S-tier criminal that's like kind of cool, you know what I mean? I could just imagine his picture in the bingo book and just having the crime beside it, killed the 7 Hokage, treason, whatever. You look at all the people that was in the bingo book from Konoha, like Itachi, you know, Sasuke. I mean, it's definitely terrible to have that put on your name, but the aura though.
So yeah, Boruto's a rogue shinobi now, and despite saving Konoha countless times, he's still seen as an enemy. Obviously, that's mainly because his bro Kawaki straight up lied on his name, claiming Boruto was the one who killed Naruto and Hinata, when in reality, it was Kawaki who trapped him in his timeless dimension. Luckily, Boruto's not completely alone. He's still got a few members who know what's really going on, that being his big homie Koji, Sarada and Sumire, and his Unk, now known as Lord 8th, Shikamaru. But even with the Hokage trusting him, the feudal lords and the Land of Fire still label Boruto as Konoha's #1 threat. Shikamaru is constantly jumping through hoops just to communicate with him, and recently things have gotten even messier. The Land of Fire's daimyo has started questioning Shikamaru's loyalty, even interrogating him.
So not only is Boruto portrayed as this awful person in the village, he's also getting people in trouble for helping him. And I'm pretty sure he knows this, but I mean, even he'll say himself, there's certain sacrifices that's needed in order to ensure the safety of the future. Like in the whole series, like everybody who's hated Boruto, like they outright expressed that. Even in the most recent chapter of Two Blue Vortex, where Inojin just straight up tells Boruto that he doesn't accept him because of the crimes he committed. It's not like Boruto tries to have everybody hear him out or something like that. Literally, he just does not care. And it's not in a way to where it's like, oh yeah, it's whatever, I mean, yeah, sure. He plays along with it, like he'll come back at you, sort of like how a villain would. Like, bro is genuinely like a mean person now. And at first, I thought it was because he knows that omnipotence can never be reversed, so there's really no point in trying to plead your case. Like, he even stated to Shikamaru that over time, he's even gonna start forgetting about his alliance with Boruto, basically factory resetting his mind to think that Boruto is still this crazy criminal. So in his mind, it's probably no point in trying to reconcile with everybody in Konoha. Like, there's no point in doing that. But there's also no point in playing the villain too. Like, there's no point in playing into that role. You're just damaging your reputation further. So either two things is happening. One, he could just not care and be like, you know what? I can't reverse omnipotence anyway. So there's no point in trying to plead my case and trying to like act like this nice guy, so I'ma just play into it. Or two, I mean, Boruto's a 15-year-old kid, so like half of the stuff he's doing, he probably thinks is cool in his head. Acting more like his master, who he views as his role model, just being more nonchalant and cold towards everything and everyone. His whole outfit is inspired by Sasuke. So it's not far-fetched to say Sasuke had a heavy influence on the way he moves, the way he talks, the way he acts, you know, his whole demeanor.
If Shikamaru gets caught helping Konoha's #1 op, it could be over for him. At the end of the day, the 8th Hokage can only do so much for Boruto. Trying to convince the Land of Fire that Boruto isn't a traitor could literally cost him his position. But here's the thing, Boruto doesn't even seem to care about clearing his name anymore. And honestly, there's a few reasons why he's just accepted his situation.
Okay, let's hear his reasons,
for better or worse.
Y'all heard mine. Let's hear his now.
The first and most obvious reason is because of Jura and the Divine Gang. Right now, Boruto couldn't care less about his reputation or how the world sees him, because Jura's appearance has every great nation on high alert.
Okay, before we even, go on further with the video, there's one more reason why I think Boruto acts like this that I forgot to mention. So the last reason, I mentioned how he just does not care because there's no way to reverse omnipotence, or no known way at that. Or two, maybe he just likes playing into that villain role because, he just thinks it's cool. Like, that's not even crazy to say. Or three, and the most dark, is because he knows that at the end, he's probably going to have to sacrifice himself, which means, Boruto, he might go at the end of the series. If Kakashi and Koji has 10 directions, prescience, however you want to say it, which allows him to see into the future of multiple timelines. And at most timelines, they both know, Koji and Boruto both know that he's gonna have to probably sacrifice himself to save the future, the planet, whatever, and Boruto has bought into that role, then let me tell you something. Boruto probably already accepted his fate. He probably already realized, you know what? Hey, I'm going to die anyway. Why try and clear my name? There's no point in doing that. So essentially, there is a sense of hopelessness in that. Boruto, he might feel hopeless to change the future, and he might feel like his destiny is already written out for him. So him acting like a villain could just be a character development thing. Like, he can eventually grow out of that and just learn how to just live in the moment and don't worry about the future. Or he can come to the conclusion that he can forge his own future at any time. Destiny isn't a solidified thing until it happens. The one and only Naruto showed us that a long time ago. So when Boruto learns about that, it could end up causing a change in his character that could change the way he acts towards himself, towards people. You never know. So that's the third reason. Now, of course, let's get back into the video so we can hear his reasoning.
This dude is an absolute demon, y'all. Not only did he casually throw hands with the bloodlusted Boruto, but he also made Kawaki's abilities look useless, just regenerating his body instantly using some kind of wood style from the Divine Tree. Jura is a monster, plain and simple. He's so dangerous that even Kakashi and Koji warned not to let anyone provoke him. And now this man is just chilling in the Leaf Village like he's some regular civilian. It's crazy, bro. The shinobi world has never been in a situation like this before. Even back in the day when Itachi and Kisame pulled up, it was on site, but Jura, he's just built different, bro. Luckily, Shikamaru's the Hokage right now, because if Kakashi was still in charge, he definitely ain't ducking that fade.
Yeah, Kakashi would definitely try to fight Jura and just get mollywopped. And that goes into another topic of like why people want Kakashi in the story again. I mean, if Shikamaru ends up losing his position as Hokage, then the next person in line to be qualified to be the Hokage would probably be Kakashi, because, Naruto's not available. Then you would just keep going down the line. When Minato died, Hiruzen stepped back into the office. I mean, at the end of the day, that was his choice, and it will be Kakashi's choice at the end of the day too. But that's who they're gonna look for when it comes to that, or if it comes to that. And if you think Kakashi is a character that should be reintroduced into the story, he has to have a specific purpose to be reintroduced. Shikamaru, the current Hokage, has a very important role. What would Kakashi's role be? I doubt it's gonna be fighting, and he doesn't really have a relationship with Kakashi and Koji. So what's to gain bringing him back into the story? Because I feel like that's just a whole thing with OG Naruto fans, is that they just want to see these characters and not really emphasize what their purpose would be if they would come back into the story. So, before you even say, Kakashi could come back, or, I want to see Killer Bee or whatever, whoever, you have to tell me, what do you want to see them for? Like, what would they offer to the story to give it more value? You see, this editing is
The
tough.
next reason is another obvious one, fam, and that's because Omnipotence itself literally won't allow anyone to even consider that Boruto and Kawaki have swapped places. Unless you've got Shikamaru level IQ, your brain just can't even process it or begin to think that it's possible. Guys like Kakashi
and even Shikamaru is starting to falter a little bit because he's starting to forget certain details about the conversations that Boruto and him had in the past. And these are very important details, mind you. So it doesn't matter what your IQ is. It affects everybody the same. I feel like where the IQ part comes in is basically how fast are you to realize that something is not right. You see what I mean? Like that can be an IQ thing. Like for some people, they don't like to question certain things because it's out of the norm. They just sort of accept it as it is without questioning it. Now, people with higher IQ, they tend to ask more questions about how certain things should be, or if something doesn't feel right, they'll point it out, you know? Like I said, everybody is capable of doing that. It's just how fast you're able to do it. How fast can you recognize that something's wrong? Now, eventually, they're going to forget just like anybody else. It doesn't matter how high your IQ is. But Shikamaru, he was able to tell something is wrong and deduce what was happening. Him along with Amato. They was the fastest to do it. And what do they both have in common? Very high IQ. Even Sasuke questioned it. Even if his was more in the form of just trusting his daughter, he still stated that something does not feel right. So he was one of the first ones to question it, even before Shikamaru or Amato. Now his relationship and just how close he is to Boruto does play a factor into that. I mean, he stated that Momoshiki was inside of him, other than Kawaki, so that was just a dead giveaway right there. Like, these are things he's questioning in real time, not even hours after Omnipotence first happened. So like I said, it just depends on how quick you are to react to certain things, how quick you are to question certain things.
Sasuke and Shikamaru can somewhat grasp what has happened, but only to a limited extent. Obviously, Sarada and Sumire are special cases since they are completely immune to Ida's abilities, but no one else has a clue what's really happened. Maybe Mitsuki's starting to figure it out, but yeah, for the average person, it's actually impossible. No normal villager or shinobi could even begin to accept the truth. The whole idea would completely shatter their sense of reality.
Yeah. For those people, it's going to take way longer.
So now that we've covered the obvious reasons, let's get into the more complicated ones. The real reasons why Boruto hasn't exposed the truth.
Okay. I see.
Why doesn't Boruto just call Kawaki out for trapping his parents? Well, he can't. For starters, Kawaki's basically a ticking time bomb. Dude's unpredictable, okay? He's taken some extreme measures in the past, all in the name of protecting Naruto. And even now, we see him pressuring Amato to upgrade his body, even though it's insanely dangerous. Because if Kawaki pushes his limits too far and ends up destroying himself, Boruto's parents are most likely gone forever, bro. Kawaki doesn't always think things through, y'all.
So basically saying he's a crash out. And that's something that Boruto along with us can see very well. Like, yeah, Kawaki is on crash out timing. Like, this is how I would imagine it to go down. Like, if Boruto was just to come out and snitch on Kawaki that, you know, he trapped Naruto and Hinata in the Daikokuten realm, literally, he does not care about anybody else but protecting Naruto. What he would do would be hella predictable. He can go and kill everybody. He can do that, you know? If you would try to keep Kawaki from protecting Naruto, he would eliminate you. Anybody that would keep him from achieving his goal, they don't mean anything to him. The average person doesn't mean a damn thing to Kawaki. So why would he care if you lived or died? As a matter of fact, if Kawaki was in Boruto's position right now, he would just kill anybody that Konoha sent after him without question. So a lot of people in Konoha, I mean everybody in Konoha, is lucky that Boruto's in this position. Because if it was Kawaki, half of Konoha's population would be cut down. And like you said, Kawaki is so unpredictable, you do not know what he would do. So it's best not to make him feel cornered, because he can make things 10 times worse, especially with his new power buff, you know? So hey, I say let Boruto just take the blame for now.
If Boruto were to expose him right now, there's no telling how Kawaki would react. And that's just a risk Boruto can't afford to take. Plus, Boruto knows he needs Kawaki to help him take down Jura. Both of them are essential to that
so that's
fight.
why he
So there's
cannot
really no
kill
point
him.
in backing Kawaki into a corner right now. And on top of that, Kawaki is still low-key Boruto's boy. As crazy as it sounds, Boruto doesn't want to completely ruin that relationship. Boruto really is Naruto's son. That compassion runs deep. To Boruto, this whole situation isn't some rivalry to end, it's a brotherly feud he believes he can overcome.
That does tell me a few things. Him just saying it's not a rivalry, it just further separates Boruto and Kawaki from Naruto and Sasuke for those who, just compare those two. So it's never about like who's stronger, it's never been that. As for Naruto and Sasuke, their whole relationship is just based around like who's stronger than who, what jutsu did he perfect that he hasn't, what has he done that he hasn't. Yeah, it's more like just brothers trying to come together and understand each other. And that could affect the final battle too. So maybe instead of just Boruto becoming stronger in order to take down Kawaki, maybe he never becomes stronger than Kawaki. Maybe something other than strength makes Kawaki realizes what he's doing is wrong, not just being beat up into a bloody pulp. So there's a very high chance that Boruto could actually lose the final battle. But something he says or does can make Kawaki realize his wrongdoings, or something along those lines.
But it does make you wonder, why doesn't he at least try to regain some of his former comrades' trust? I mean, this is the same Boruto who saved countless people who now believe he's Kara's former vessel. He's protected Mitsuki,
I like the Bleach soundtracks
Konohamaru,
too.
and even Himawari from the Divine Gang on multiple occasions. So why not try to, I don't know, like build something new with them, I guess? It's not like they have a real reason to hate him. He already explained that Naruto and Hinata aren't dead, just trapped and somewhat safe. So
but nobody
unless
believes
they
him.
think he's lying, which doesn't really seem to be the case, there should be room for some trust there, no? Early in Two Blue Vortex, we see Himawari admit that Boruto never seemed like a guy capable of doing such awful things, and she could also like legit sense that her parents might still be alive. Later, Mitsuki starts to question his own hatred towards Boruto after realizing how shitty Kawaki is, and now even Konohamaru is considering working with Boruto and Lord 8th, even though it's technically a crime to do so. So why doesn't Boruto build on those relationships, or at least acknowledges them? Like even Inojin's low-key locked in with Boruto and Kashin Koji, yet Boruto doesn't get personal with him at all, even though he knows Inojin.
He talked about his haircut. That's as personal as you can get with somebody. You don't talk about another man's haircut. Yeah, he called his haircut stupid. I mean, Inojin did get kind of like rowdy with Boruto first. I don't know when this video was made. Was it made before the release of chapter 28? It was made before. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, scratch this part with Inojin. Yeah, Inojin and Boruto are not tight. They not locked in at all.
It's like Boruto just doesn't care to connect anymore. And then there's Sarada, someone who knows the truth, someone who's stood by him since day one, and even with her, Boruto keeps his distance. Now, sure, you could say it's because of Jura, that Boruto's too focused on the bigger picture to deal with emotions right now and stuff, but to what extent then, brother? He's still risking his life to protect his old friends, even when that could mean triggering Jura and endangering the entire planet. So if he's willing to go that far for them, why is he staying so emotionally distant? It's giving Sussy Baka. And while this part dives into speculation territory, I think the real reason is much darker than we realize.
What's the reason?
Yeah, the reason might actually be a lot darker than we realize, and it all comes back to Momoshiki. Let's just keep it a beat.
Oh yeah,
Kawaki's not completely wrong in thinking Boruto might give his body to be stopped. I'm not saying Boruto deserves to die or anything like that, but Kawaki's logic does make some sense, okay? Momoshiki is a serious threat, not just to Boruto, but to the entire world. Early in Two Blue Vortex, Boruto straight up says that every time he uses karma, it feels like he's dying inside, basically hinting that Momoshiki is ready to take over the second that power activates, bro. It seems like the problem is getting worse even when Boruto isn't using karma at all. This situation where Momoshiki is trapped inside Boruto's body forever, unable to resurrect, is completely unnatural. No one, not Boruto, not Kawaki, not that bitch-ass Amato.
And like I said, it's like, I mentioned this in a past video when I was talking about Momoshiki. This whole situation between Boruto and, Momoshiki, it's not normal. We have never seen this before. So expect some unforeseen situations to stem from this situation. And from the last time we seen Momoshiki, he was sulking. He was kind of mad that Boruto just won't die so he can be free from this curse. It could be a situation that both of them have not foreseen yet. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible that Boruto knows something because of 10 directions that could cause him to be acting like this, something to do with Momoshiki. And it could stem from what Boruto told him, like, yo, if you help us defeat Jura and the rest of the shinju or whatever, I'll just give you my body. And I think in the very next chapter, he doubled down on that deal. He says, yes, I'm not lying. I'm gonna keep my end of the deal. So look, I guess I'm speaking from a personal standpoint. Like, if I was just to give my body to an alien god, and I know that's what entails in my future, I'm not really gonna care about how other people perceive me. It's not like I'm gonna stay in this world anyway, you know what I mean? So that could be Boruto's mindset too, or it could be something deeper than that, you know, we don't know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really enjoying this video. If you guys haven't already, make sure y'all go sub to him. Yeah, go ahead. He deserves it. Look at the editing, the pacing of the video, the tone. It's all good, bro. It's all good.
I always go back to that moment when Momoshiki said that his and Boruto's thoughts were starting to cross over. At first, it seemed like a small detail, but the more you think about it, the more disturbing it gets. The moment happens right before Kawaki completely loses it and changes both of their lives forever. On the surface, it looks like Kawaki's just overreacting, yelling at Boruto like he's talking to a ghost. But what if he isn't? What if that scene was actually foreshadowing what's happening now in Two Blue Vortex? Kawaki's yelling at Boruto, but he's really screaming at Momoshiki because bro's traumatized by Otsutsuki. But maybe he's not actually schizo. Maybe Momoshiki and Boruto aren't as separate as everyone thinks. Right before that moment, we see Boruto arguing with Momoshiki in his own head, saying he won't let him blank out or stop thinking. At first, it seems like Boruto's just trying to get information out of him,
yeah,
but
pretty
it also
much. That
raises
was crazy.
some serious questions. Like, why are their thoughts crossing over at all when the karma isn't even active? And yeah, this is speculation, but I really think it's
unforeseen
because Boruto and
situations
Momoshiki's consciousnesses are starting
call
to
for
fuse
unforeseen
together.
results.
Fusion definitely isn't a new concept in Two Blue Vortex. We've already seen traces of it before. Both Naruto and Himawari have shown some form of fusion with the Nine Tails, each in their own way, but Boruto and Momoshiki's situation is obviously completely different. Their consciousnesses might actually be merging, and honestly, that idea isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Recently, we saw Boruto finally reach out to Momoshiki for the first time in years, and what happens? Momoshiki's just sitting there, sulking, claiming he's in despair.
Yeah, so like he said, Boruto and Momoshiki's thoughts could be merging over, causing Boruto to act a certain way, like just letting the world hate him. And it's not like Momoshiki's full consciousness is taking over Boruto's, but it might be an influence on it. Like if we take that scene to where Boruto and Momoshiki's thoughts were fusing together or like intertwining kind of like, then this theory does make sense. It could be Momoshiki's influence which is making Boruto act more douchey, but just in his own way, implying that he'll cut Kawaki's arm off if he doesn't let go of him, calling him pathetic for not training or being weak, being mean to Shikadai, Inojin, all these characters, mouthing off to Konohamaru, etc. It can be Momoshiki's influence filtered through Boruto's personality. So yeah, this is very underrated. Yeah, it could be Momoshiki's influence. That's something we should not look over.
Boruto's whole aura has been different. Before he was calm, focused and composed, kind of a chill guy, and just driven by purpose.
Oh yeah, and
but
violating
now
code.
His demeanor shifted. He's quicker to anger, openly says when he feels like his time is being wasted, and his overall vibe just feels off. Almost, dare I say, Otsutsuki-like. Maybe Momoshiki really did keep his mind blank for a while, but now that
and I forgot to mention, if this is true, then it's only gonna go worse. It's only gonna get worse. And it could come to a point where Boruto just ends up snapping. It's gonna come to a point where Boruto ends up snapping and basically starts acting like Momoshiki. And this could come in any form. Maybe he could just start snapping on Kashin Koji, start fighting him for not trusting him or something like that. Like their conflict could get worse. He could take out all his anger and frustration on the officials of Konoha. Basically just saying, you know what? Y'all want me to build a villain? Okay. Those old farts in office right now, I got something for them. Like, it could be that. He could just say, you know what, I'm snapping, just become another Madara. And that could become like a whole nother arc by itself. That's just, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that before watching this video. So you see why I like reacting to videos? It kind of like opens up my mind for different possibilities and stuff like that. Yeah, y'all know, man.
It's like Momoshiki's influence is creeping back in, subtly changing Boruto from the inside out. And it's not just us noticing it, even Kashin Koji seems bothered by it. When he asks Boruto if his deal with Momoshiki went through, Boruto brushes off the question. He's being secretive and his behavior is low-key sus. Sure, maybe Boruto just doesn't jack Koji like that. Like, again, Koji is pretty cold and pragmatic,
kind of like
and he is
him.
willing to sacrifice Boruto's friends for the mission, but still. Boruto's attitude lately feels different. Even Koji seems uneasy about it, and Koji's not even a human. But if I'm right, and Boruto and Momoshiki's consciousnesses really are starting to fuse, then everything starts to make sense. It explains why Boruto hasn't tried rebuilding trust, exposing Kawaki, or clearing his name, because deep down, Boruto might already know
not
how
exposing
his story
Kawaki
ends,
though makes
or
sense.
how it must end. He's accepted
I don't
that
think
he'll
that's
have
part
to
of his
die
villain arc.
one way or another. And instead of trying to convince the world that he's Naruto's true son, maybe he's decided it's easier if he dies a villain. That way, the world won't have to feel guilty. Kawaki can live on as the hero, and Boruto, like Itachi and many others before him, becomes a shinobi who sacrificed everything for the sake of the village.
W. So you know what? I think I'm gonna leave it off that. I think that's the perfect ending to a video like this, for sure. It leaves room for you guys to put in your thoughts and ideas. All this speculation, yeah, I like that. I like that. So anyway, yeah, that was a pretty good video from J-Man. All the success the video gets is well deserved, man. The editing is pretty good. The script writing, all that, man, all that. So I mean, let me know what you guys think. What's the reason why Boruto is acting this way? Like, I listed my reasons, he listed his reasons. What reason do you think why Boruto was acting like this? Could it be Momoshiki's influence? Could it be the shinju? Could it be that Boruto has given up and trying to reverse omnipotence? Could it be that he's going to die in the end of the series? Let me know what you all think. There's a lot of possibilities. So I don't expect to see the same comment twice, you know what I mean? Obviously, I'll probably see the same comment twice, but for the majority of the comments, I expect some type of like diversity because the topic is so vague. It leaves a lot to question. So yeah, like I said before, J-Man, I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description. So make sure you guys go check him out. From this video, you guys can see, yeah, pretty good content creator, really underrated. Deserves more than 1,000 subs for sure, yeah. But anyway, if you guys like the video and want to see more like this in the near future, make sure you do the following: like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'm gonna see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.